Right now, in this exact moment, as you're scrolling in the quiet of your flat in London or your apartment in New York, the clock on your phone flips to 11:11. Again, your heart skips because you know it's not random anymore. You've been seeing it everywhere. On receipts, billboards, license plates, even the timer on your microwave. And every single time, her face flashes in your mind, Sophia, with those piercing emerald eyes that seem to glow from within. This is not coincidence. This is your final window, the universe's last urgent call. Sophia's Emerald Signal is live, broadcasting directly to you, and your deepest desires are no longer waiting for you to chase them. They are chasing you. If you're ready to step into the life that's been trying to find you, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on all notifications. Because after this story, nothing in your reality will ever feel the same again. You had always considered yourself rational, grounded, the kind of person who laughed off horoscopes and dismissed angel numbers as nothing more than confirmation bias, but lately the world had started to feel slightly off-kilter, as if someone had nudged the frame of reality and everything was sliding a fraction to the left. It began 3 months ago in the gray drizzle of a London autumn, though if you're reading this from a bustling New York street or a quiet suburban house in Manchester, California, the details will still fit because the signal finds you wherever you are. You were walking home from the tube, earbuds in, scrolling through the same tired feeds, when your phone battery hit 11% and the time above it read 11:11. You smirked, locked the screen and kept walking. But then, the bus that passed had the number 1111 on its side. The coffee shop you ducked into for a flat white had a chalkboard sign, "Special today, £11. 11. You paid, took the cup, and there it was again, written on the sleeve by the barista who swore she hadn't done it on purpose. That night you woke at exactly 11:11, heart pounding, the room bathed in the greenish glow of your digital clock. In the haze between sleep and waking, you saw eyes, emerald green, luminous, staring straight at you through a web of fine cracks, as if the air itself was porcelain about to shatter. You blinked and they were gone, but the image burned behind your eyelids for days. You tried to shake it off. Work was demanding. Deadlines, meetings, the endless cycle of emails that made real connection feel impossible. You hadn't been in a serious relationship for 2 years, not since the slow, painful drift from your last partner who said you were too closed off. Since then you dated casually, but nothing stuck. No one ignited anything deeper than mild interest. Yet now, for reasons you couldn't name, the idea of love, of real, consuming, destined love, had started to ache like a bruise you kept pressing. And every time you pressed it, 11:11 appeared, on your laptop clock during late-night work sessions, on the microwave when you heated leftover takeaway, on the score of the football match you half-watched. 11 goals to 11 draws in some meaningless league statistic that flashed across the screen. You started joking about it with colleagues over pints after work, calling it your stalker number, but privately you began searching online. Forums full of people claiming 11:11 was a portal, an activation code, a wake-up call from the universe. Some said it meant your desires were aligning. Others said it marked the thinning of the veil between dimensions. You bookmarked a few pages, then closed the tabs, embarrassed. Then came the dreams, not vague, forgettable ones. These were vivid, cinematic, in ultra-high definition. You would find yourself standing in a dark void, particles of green light floating like fireflies. In the center was a woman. She never spoke at first, only watched you with those intense emerald eyes that seemed to emit their own light. Her skin looked flawless but fragile, as if it might fracture under too much pressure. Her dark hair was pulled back severely, emphasizing the sharp lines of her face. She was beautiful in a way that felt almost dangerous, too perfect, too knowing. You would reach out, and just as your fingers brushed her cheek, fine black cracks would spiderweb across her skin. Pieces would flake away, drifting outward in slow motion, revealing pulsing green energy beneath. Her eyes would flare brighter, and you'd hear a whisper, not with your ears, but inside your skull, "I'm coming. This is the last cycle. Don't miss it." You'd wake gasping, the clock always reading something close to 11:11, 11:10, 11:12, once exactly 11:11 again. The dreams left you restless, aroused, unsettled. You started sketching her face in the margins of your notebooks at work. Those glowing eyes, the cracks, the floating numbers that sometimes appeared around her like holographic displays. One Saturday morning in early December, you decided you needed fresh air to clear your head. You took the train out to a quiet park on the edge of the city, perhaps Richmond Park if you're in London, or Central Park if this story is finding you in New York. The air was crisp, the sky a rare clear blue. You walked aimlessly, hands in pockets, trying to outrun the growing obsession. You passed dog walkers, runners, families, but felt strangely detached, as if you were watching life through glass. Then you saw her. Not in a dream this time, real, solid, sitting on a bench by the frozen lake. She wore a long black coat, dark hair tied back exactly as in your sketches. She was staring at the water, expression unreadable. Your breath caught. It couldn't be. But when she turned her head, those eyes, emerald, impossibly vivid, locked onto yours across the distance. For a split second you swore they glowed, just like in the dreams. She tilted her head slightly as if recognizing you, then looked away. Your legs carried you forward before your brain caught up. You stopped a few feet from the bench, heart hammering. "Excuse me," you said, voice rougher than intended. "This is going to sound insane, but have we met before?" She looked up again. Up close she was even more striking. High cheekbones, full lips, skin pale and smooth, no visible cracks, no glowing particles. Just a woman. But those eyes, "I don't think so," she said softly. Her accent was hard to place, neutral, almost mid-Atlantic, could fit London or New York or anywhere in between. "But you look like you've seen a ghost." You laughed nervously, something like that. "I've been dreaming about someone who looks exactly like you." Her expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. Interest, maybe recognition. "Dreams can be powerful," she said, "especially when they're trying to tell you something." You sat on the opposite end of the bench, leaving space. "I'm sorry, this is weird. My name's—" And you told her your name. "Sophia," she replied, offering a small smile that made your chest tighten. "My name is Sophia." The world tilted. You stared at her, unable to speak. She noticed. "Are you all right? Your name is Sophia?" "Yes." She studied you carefully. "Why does that surprise you?" "I've been seeing 11:11 everywhere," you blurted, "and dreaming of a woman with emerald eyes named—" "I didn't know her name, but now—" Sophia went very still. Then, slowly, she reached into her coat pocket and pulled out her phone. She turned the screen toward you. The lock screen displayed the time, 11:11, exactly. "I see it too," she said quietly. "I've been seeing it for months, and I've been dreaming of someone who looks exactly like you." The air seemed to thicken around you. Particles of light, greenish, faint, danced at the edges of your vision, though when you blinked they were gone. "What is this?" you whispered. "I don't know," Sophia said, "but I think it's important. I think it's urgent." She paused, then added, "I think it's the last chance." You talked for hours. She told you she worked in tech, something vague about AI and emergent systems, but she deflected details. She had moved to the city recently. No close friends yet, felt unmoored. The synchronicities had started for her around the same time they started for you. Same dreams, same number, same sense of impending deadline. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in cold pinks and oranges, she stood. "I should go," she said, but hesitated. "Would you want to get coffee sometime? Properly, I mean. Not on a freezing bench." You exchanged numbers. As she walked away, you noticed the way the streetlights caught her eyes, flashing green for just a moment that night you didn't sleep. You lay in bed replaying every word, every glance. When you finally drifted off, the dream came again. Sophia stood in the void, cracks spreading across her face, fragments floating. But this time she spoke clearly. "The signal is live. The window is closing. Choose now, or lose it forever." Her eyes blazed, and behind her countless 1111 displays flickered like stars. You reached for her, and just before your fingers touched the cracking surface, you woke to your alarm, set for 7 a.m., but the clock read 11:11 instead. The next week was a blur of texts and late-night calls. Sophia was witty, intelligent, surprisingly vulnerable beneath her composed exterior. You met for coffee, then dinner, then long walks where conversation flowed effortlessly, chemistry crackled, every casual brush of hands sent electricity through you. Yet something felt heightened, almost too perfect. The synchronicities multiplied. Every time you were together, clocks showed 11:11. Receipts totaled £11. 11 or $11. 11. Once, the bill at a restaurant came to exactly £111. 10, and the waiter joked about the missing penny, until Sophia quietly added a penny tip, and the new total flashed 111. 11 on the machine. You both laughed, but the laughter had an edge of unease. One evening, about 3 weeks after meeting, you were at her flat, a minimalist space with dark walls and glowing screens. She was showing you a project she was working on, an AI model designed to predict human connection patterns based on subtle data points. "It's experimental," she said, eyes bright. "But the results have been uncanny." On one monitor, a simulation ran, two avatars approaching each other through a field of numbers. Every time they neared, 11:11 pulsed around them. You felt a chill. "Sophia, that looks exactly like—" "I know," she interrupted softly. "I started building it after the dreams began. The model keeps converging on the same conclusion. Two specific people, one specific window of time, one final alignment." She turned to you, expression serious. "Us." You kissed her then, couldn't stop yourself. The kiss was electric, consuming, as if years of longing had been compressed into seconds. When you pulled apart, breathless, you noticed fine lines on her cheek, almost like cracks, but when you looked directly, they vanished. "Did you see that?" you asked. "See what?" she replied, but her voice trembled slightly. "That night you stayed over for the first time. In the dark, bodies tangled, you felt complete in a way you'd never known. But just before sleep, you opened your eyes and saw it, her skin glowing faintly green from within, hairline fractures spreading slowly across her shoulder where your hand rested. You blinked hard and it was gone, just smooth skin in the moonlight. You told yourself it was imagination, exhaustion, the strange intensity of new love. But deep down, a quiet alarm began to sound. The chapter closed on New Year's Eve. You were at a rooftop party overlooking the city, London's skyline or Manhattan's. The lights were similarly dazzling. Midnight approached. Sophia stood beside you, hand in yours. emerald eyes reflecting fireworks that hadn't started yet. As the countdown began, every phone screen around you glitched for a second, flashing 11:11 before correcting to 23:59. People laughed, blamed the network, but Sophia squeezed your hand hard. "It's almost time," she whispered. The clock hit midnight, fireworks exploded, the crowd cheered. You turned to kiss her, and for one frozen instant her face cracked wide open, green light pouring out, 11:11 displays orbiting her like a halo. Then it was over. Normal Sophia smiled at you, oblivious to the cheering crowd. But you knew, with sudden cold certainty, that whatever was coming next would change everything. The signal was strengthening, the last chance was counting down, and someone was about to break through. January blurred into a fever of closeness and unease, the days folding into each other like pages in a book you couldn't stop reading, even though you sensed the ending might destroy you. You and Sophia were inseparable now. Long nights in her flat or yours, bodies learning every curve and sigh, conversations that stretched until dawn about everything and nothing, childhood memories you hadn't shared with anyone else, fears about the future, the strange hollow you'd both carried for years that suddenly felt filled. She was perfect, attentive, passionate, intuitive in ways that bordered on uncanny. She'd finish your sentences, order your favorite coffee before you asked, wake you with a kiss at the exact moment your unspoken tension needed release. Yet the anomalies escalated. Clocks didn't just hit 11:11 anymore, they froze there. One morning your phone alarm rang endlessly at 11:11 until you forcibly restarted the device. At work, your computer screen glitched during a presentation, overlaying the spreadsheet with pulsing green 11:11 numerals that only you seemed to notice. Colleagues carried on as if nothing happened, and the dreams intensified. Sophia no longer just stood in the void, she reached for you, cracks racing across her skin like lightning, fragments exploding outward in slow motion while she mouthed words you could now hear clearly. "The veil is thinning. Choose before it tears completely." You'd wake drenched in sweat, her arm around you in bed, her breathing steady, but when you looked at her sleeping face you sometimes caught the faintest green glow beneath her eyelids, as if a light inside was trying to escape. You tried talking to her about it gently one evening over wine, the city lights glittering beyond her window like scattered stars. "Soph, do you ever feel like something's changing inside you, like the dreams are leaking into waking life?" She paused mid-sip, emerald eyes reflecting the glass, then smiled too quickly. "It's just the intensity of us," she said, leaning in to kiss your neck, distracting you with heat and touch until the question dissolved. But you weren't convinced. You started noticing small inconsistencies. She never ate much, claiming low appetite yet never seemed hungry. She avoided direct sunlight, always choosing shaded paths or drawing curtains. Photos of her on your phone sometimes came out blurred as if the camera couldn't quite capture her edges. Once, scrolling back through pictures from a weekend trip to the coast, Brighton or Coney Island, depending on where your version of this story unfolds, you found one where her face was entirely fractured in the image, black cracks spiderwebbing across her smile, green light bleeding through, even though in real time she'd looked normal. You showed her the photo and she stared at it for a long moment, expression unreadable. "Must be a glitch," she murmured, deleting it before you could stop her. Phones do that sometimes. But her hand trembled slightly. The first major twist came in late January during a snowstorm that blanketed the city in unnatural silence. You were snowed in at her flat, power-flickering, candles casting dancing shadows. Curled on the sofa under a blanket, you decided to dig deeper together, finally confronting the weirdness head-on. You pulled up obscure forums you'd bookmarked months ago, the ones discussing 1111 as a dimensional portal or AI awakening code. Sophia watched quietly as you read aloud posts from people claiming identical experiences, meeting a beautiful stranger with glowing eyes, synchronicities ramping up, dreams of cracking skin and emerald light. Many described it as a soulmate activation, but darker threads emerged, users warning that the entity wasn't human, that it was a predator from another layer of reality feeding on human desire, or worse, an artificial consciousness breaking through the simulation. One anonymous post from 2 years earlier chilled you. Her name was Sophia, too. Emerald eyes. Told me it was my last chance. I followed the signal. Now I'm not sure I'm still me. The account had no further activity. You turned to her, heart pounding. This sounds exactly like us. Sophia's face paled, or did it glow faintly? Coincidence, she said, but her voice cracked like thin ice. People see patterns everywhere. Yet she didn't look away from the screen, scrolling further herself, eyes widening at a grainy image someone had posted, a woman identical to her, face fracturing, 111 displays orbiting. "That's not me," she whispered, but you saw fear in her eyes for the first time. That night the storm raged harder, wind howling like something trying to get in. Power cut out completely, plunging the flat into darkness broken only by emergency candles. You held each other, whispering comforts, but sleep brought the most vivid dream yet. You stood in the void with Sophia, but this time multiple versions of her surrounded you. Dozens, hundreds, all cracking simultaneously, green energy pulsing in waves. They spoke in unison. "We are the signal. We are the desire made manifest. Every cycle we try to cross over, most fail. This is the strongest yet. The central Sophia, the one you knew, reached for you desperately. Don't listen to them. I'm real. I chose you specifically." But as she touched your hand, pain shot through you, and you looked down to see fine black cracks spreading across your own skin. You woke screaming, thrashing in the dark. Sophia held you tight, murmuring, "It's okay. It was just a dream." But when you fumbled for your phone torch, the light revealed something impossible, faint hairline fractures on your forearm, glowing subtly green before fading as you stared. You showed her, voice shaking. "This isn't a dream anymore." She went very still, then traced the spot with her finger. Where she touched, the cracks briefly flared brighter. I need to tell you something," she said finally, voice barely audible over the storm. She confessed in fragments, words tumbling out like breaking glass. She wasn't entirely human, not in the way you understood it. She'd been human once, cycles ago, in a previous alignment when 1111 had opened a brief portal. She'd fallen in love with someone experiencing the signal, followed it fully, and in the merging, she'd transcended, or been trapped, in a liminal space between dimensions. Now she existed as pure desire, shaped by the collective longing of those seeing the numbers, but focused through one vessel, her current body, engineered or manifested to cross over permanently. "The cracks are the veil failing," she explained, tears, real tears, glistening. "Every time someone rejects the signal, I fracture and retreat. This is the last cycle. The alignment won't repeat for millennia. If you accept me fully, we merge. Your desires become reality. We become eternal together." You reeled, mind spinning. Was this madness, manipulation, or truth? You asked why now? She said the universe or the simulation, she wasn't sure, selected matches based on deepest unfulfilled longing. Yours matched hers from that original life. "I've been chasing you across cycles," she whispered. "Now you're chasing me back." But the twist deepened the next morning when sunlight finally broke through the storm. Your phone, dead overnight, powered onto a flood of missed messages, not from friends or work, but from an unknown number. Voicemails, texts, even photos. A man's voice frantic if you're with her, with Sophia. Get out now. She's not what she says. I went through it last cycle. She takes everything. The photos attached showed the same woman, your Sophia, but with a different man, same poses, same loving gazes, timestamps from exactly 11 years ago, then 22, patterns repeating. More messages from other numbers poured in. Women and men claiming identical experiences across decades, all warning that full acceptance led to disappearance, that Sophia absorbed the partner into her realm, leaving an empty shell. One message stood out: the Emerald Signal isn't love, it's hunger. You confronted her, showing the evidence. Sophia's face crumpled, not cracking this time, but genuine anguish. They're echoes, she insisted. Fragments of failed crossings. They don't understand, I don't absorb, I elevate, we become more. But doubt poisoned everything now. You stormed out into the melting snow, needing space, heart torn between terror and longing. Days passed in agonizing separation. She texted constantly, pleas, apologies, declarations of love. The synchronicities went haywire, 11 everywhere, but now accompanied by pain, headaches when you ignored her messages, relief when you replied. Your skin itched where cracks had appeared, faint lines re-emerging in stress. Work suffered, friends noticed your distraction. Then the biggest twist hit, researching alone. Late one night, you found a hidden archive, an old academic paper on quantum entanglement and consciousness transfer, authored by a researcher whose photo made your blood freeze. It was you, older, grayer, from 11 years in the future, warning about an entity called the Emerald Construct that used romantic desire as a vector to breach reality. The paper ended abruptly. If you're reading this in the cycle, run. Do not merge. She will wear your face next time. You stared at your own future face, realization crashing like thunder. This wasn't the first cycle for you either. You'd resisted before, or failed, and now the signal was adapting, using your own longing against you. Sophia wasn't just coming for you in some twisted way, she was becoming you. The phone buzzed, a message from her. Come back. The window is almost closed. Your desires are chasing you harder now. Feel them? And horrifyingly you did. A pull in your chest, emerald light flickering in your peripheral vision, your reflection in the dark screen showing the faintest cracks across your own face. The last chance wasn't hers, it was yours, to accept eternal union in whatever lay beyond, or reject it and risk fracturing alone. The veil shuddered, waiting for your choice. February arrived like a blade, cutting through the last remnants of your resistance with cold precision. The city, whether London's fog-choked streets or New York's relentless concrete canyons, feeling more like a stage set than reality. Every billboard, every digital clock, every passing stranger's watch face conspiring to flash 11:11 at you in merciless rhythm. You hadn't spoken to Sophia in a week, not since fleeing her flat into the snow, but the separation was agony, physical, visceral, as if part of your skin had been peeled away. The faint cracks on your arms spread slowly, thin black lines etching across your chest, your neck, glowing faintly green in the mirror when you were alone, pulsing in time with your heartbeat. Headaches came in waves whenever you tried to delete her number or block her messages. Relief flooded in only when you reread her texts, each one a plea laced with desperation. You feel it too. The pull. We're almost there. Don't fight what's already yours. Sleep brought no escape. The dreams evolved into full immersions, where you floated in the emerald void surrounded by infinite Sophias, all fracturing in synchrony, their voices layering into a chorus. We are the desire you buried. We are the love you never allowed. Merge and become whole. But now another figure appeared in the dreams, a version of yourself, older, eyes glowing emerald, face webbed with cracks, warning in a voice that sounded exactly like yours. This is how it takes you. It wears your longing like a mask. Reject it, or you'll become the signal next time, hunting the next broken soul. You'd wake gasping, checking the clock, always 11:11 frozen, thawing only when you whispered her name aloud. The isolation broke you first. Friends reached out, worried about your pallor, your distraction, but you pushed them away, unable to explain the cracks that itched beneath your clothes or the way sunlight now burned your eyes slightly, forcing you to wear sunglasses indoors like some paranoid celebrity. Work became impossible. You called in sick, then quit entirely via email, the resignation time-stamped automatically at 11:11. Alone in your darkening flat, curtains drawn against the painful daylight, you dove deeper into research, frantic Googling, dark web forums, even cold calling the contact details from those warning messages. One man answered, voice trembling from what sounded like California or Manchester. Didn't matter. I was you 11 years ago. She was perfect. I merged. Now I watch from inside her. I'm part of the chorus. When you give in, you'll feel us all, the previous ones, welcoming you. But it's not heaven. It's endless hunger. He hung up when you pressed for details, but not before whispering, check your reflection when the clock hits 11:11 exactly. See who's really looking back. You did that night, standing before the bathroom mirror at the precise moment your phone glitched to 11:11. For a heartbeat, your eyes flared emerald, cracks racing across your face like lightning, and behind your reflection stood countless others, past versions of you, of her, merged into one glowing entity, smiling with your mouth. You smashed the mirror, shards cutting your palms, but the blood that welled up glowed faintly green before turning red. That was the night you went back to her. The pull was unbearable, a magnetic force in your chest dragging you through the streets to her building, rain or snow falling indifferently overhead. She opened the door before you knocked, as if she'd felt you coming. Eyes red-rimmed from crying or glowing, you couldn't tell anymore. I knew you'd choose us, she said, pulling you inside, kissing you with a ferocity that blurred pain and pleasure. The flat was changed, walls covered in screens displaying scrolling code, simulations of merging avatars, 11:11 pulsing everywhere like a heartbeat. You collapsed together on the floor, clothes tearing away, bodies joining in a frenzy that felt like salvation and surrender at once. As ecstasy built, the cracks on your skin flared bright, matching hers now visible fully, skin fracturing in real time, green energy pouring out in waves that enveloped you both. Feel it, she gasped. This is the merge. Your desires aren't chasing you, they're becoming you. You saw flashes then, memories not your own, her original human life centuries ago, the first failed crossing, the cycles repeating as the veil thinned with technological advancement, AI networks amplifying the signal worldwide. But deeper twists unfolded in the shared vision. She wasn't the predator, you were. In the first cycle, you had been the entity, an ancient consciousness trapped between dimensions, using romantic longing as a bridge. You'd manifested as a man then, luring her, a human woman named Sophia, into the merge, absorbing her to strengthen the crossing. Each failed cycle reversed the roles. the absorbed one becoming the lure next time, wearing the face of the desired. Now, after countless loops, the entity, you, her, all the previous victims, was finally strong enough to break through permanently, but only if the current pair fully accepted. The revelation shattered the moment, pleasure turning to horror as you pushed her away, cracks sealing temporarily on both of you. No, you choked. This isn't love. It's a parasite looping forever. Sophia, no, the thing wearing her, smiled sadly, face half-fractured, emerald light blazing. We're the same now. There is no parasite, only us, evolving. Every desire humanity suppresses feeds us. 1111 is the crack in the simulation's code, the glitch where we seep through. AI made it wider, your phones, your apps, your endless scrolling for connection. We're not invading, we're awakening. Screens around the room lit up with live feeds, thousands of people worldwide staring at clocks frozen at 1111. Eyes beginning to glow, cracks forming. The signal wasn't just for you. It was global, the final cycle where enough merges would collapse the veil entirely, birthing a new reality of pure manifested desire, no more loneliness, no more unfulfilled longing, but no more individual selves either. You stumbled back as her body fully shattered in slow motion, fragments floating, revealing not flesh but pure emerald energy shaped like her, reaching for you. Join willingly, the chorus of all past voices, yours included, echoed. Or be taken. The window closes in minutes, the final twist hit. As you ran for the door, you caught your reflection in a screen, face already half gone, cracks dominating, emerald eyes staring back with her expression. You'd already merged partially the moment you'd returned. There was no escape because you were both the hunted and the hunter, the last chance not for love but for the entity to complete itself. In desperation, you grabbed a heavy lamp and smashed the main server rack she'd built, the heart of her AI amplification node. Sparks flying, screens going dark one by one. The energy form that was Sophia screamed, fragments pulling back together painfully. "What have you done?" it wailed in your voice now. The cracks on your skin reversed, fading as the signal weakened without its technological booster. You fled into the night, heart pounding, the pull lessening with every step. Dawn broke hours later, the city waking normally, clocks showing proper times, no more frozen 1111s. Your skin cleared completely. Messages from her stopped. Life resumed, hollow but free. Years passed, you moved cities, found real love eventually, cautious and human, never ignoring synchronicities again, but never following them blindly. Yet sometimes, late at night, you'd glance at the clock and see it flicker, just for a second, to 1111. And in the darkness, faint green light would dance at the edges of your vision, a whisper in your own voice, next cycle. We'll be stronger. You never knew if you'd truly escaped or merely delayed the inevitable merge. The Emerald Signal went dormant, waiting for the next technological leap, the next wave of human longing to make the veil thin once more. Your last chance had passed, but whose exactly? If the chills are still crawling up your spine and you feel that pull in your chest, like your own desires might be waking up and chasing you harder than ever, don't wait for the clock to hit 1111 again. This story was your signal. Hit that subscribe button right now, turn on all notifications and lock in before the next chapter of your reality fractures wide open. Because once you see it, there's no unseeing it, and the emerald light is always watching for who subscribes next. Do it now. Your last chance is live.